It's time now for the Easy Choice presented by Geico. It is a very easy choice to listen to our Ryan Wilson putting together mock draft after mock draft as we prepare for the upcoming NFL draft next month. In his latest mock, this is version 8.0, Wilson has the Vikings and the Raiders trading up for quarterbacks and the Chargers trading down to restock their roster. Draft expert Ryan Wilson joining us now. Now, Ryan, in your mock draft 8.0, you have the Vikings, who now have 2 first-round picks, number 11 and 23, move up to number 5 overall, swapping with the Chargers. And with that 5th pick, you have them snagging J.J. McCarthy. What do you like about that fit?
Well, here's what I like about it at the top, Jenny. The Vikings desperately need a quarterback. They didn't re-up Kirk Cousins. Of course, he's now in Atlanta. They did sign Sam Darnold, but that feels like a short-term solution. And as you noted, they traded up a week ago to get the 23rd pick from the Houston Texans to go along with the 11th pick that they currently have. And it certainly feels like in real life they're going to package those picks to get up as high as possible. And the question becomes, how high do they go? In this mock draft, I had them going 5th overall, swapping with the Los Angeles Chargers, who have their franchise quarterback in Justin Herbert. And they're taking J.J. McCarthy. And you might say to yourself, wait a second, J.J. wasn't asked to do a whole bunch last year on that national championship team, and you would be right. But NFL teams love J.J. McCarthy's upside. They love his physical tools, his athleticism, his arm strength. Rick Spielman and I talked to him at the Combine with the first pick, and he is a charming young man, a lot of charisma. He feels like he'd be a great leader in the locker room. The question is, of course, he hasn't done a bunch. But when he has been asked to do things, especially on 3rd down, he's been pretty special. And again, it feels like when we talk about these quarterbacks, Jenny, and you know Bryce Young from your time covering the SEC, he landed in a terrible spot in Carolina, at least in year 1. It feels like Kevin O'Connell would be a great landing spot for any young quarterback, especially J.J. McCarthy, who can learn under a really good coach in terms of working with quarterbacks. We'll have some playmakers around him in Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, and can compete in a division that's pretty wide open now that Aaron Rodgers is in New York.
Yeah, with that mock trade with the Vikings, so you have J.J. going there. The Chargers get that 11 and 23 pick, and with those 2 first-rounders, you have them finding 2 starters, one on offense, one on defense. Who do you like for L.A. then?
Yeah, let's keep the Michigan theme going. Jim Harbaugh, the head coach of Michigan, is now the head coach for the Chargers, and we know that he loves running the ball, even though he does have the aforementioned franchise quarterback in Justin Herbert. So with the 11th pick, I have him taking Telly Fuaga, the right tackle out of Oregon State. He slots in as a day 1 starter. In previous drafts, not too long ago, they've taken Zion Johnson, who plays guard for them, and they've taken Rashawn Slater, who plays left tackle for them with first-round picks. So that offensive line is good to go. And then you see there with the 23rd pick that they get, in that Vikings trade, I have him taking Nate Wiggins, the cornerback, who could end up going much higher than this. He had a great combine, ran into the 4.3s, had an even better season. He's a little thin, but he plays much bigger than that. You can see that he has ball skills, and he also has the ability. He improved his ability to tackle, I thought, last season. And again, he is a day 1 starter on the defense for a Chargers team that had to cut some players to get under the salary cap. And when you're in a division with Patrick Mahomes, you're going to need help on both sides of the ball, and the Chargers are able to do that with these 2 first-round picks. And I do think there will be a candidate to trade down because they don't have any glaring needs that can't be fixed later in the round, as opposed to taking whatever they like at number 5, where they currently find themselves. All
great points there. How many mocks do you end up doing before the draft comes, typically?
Thankfully, my contract means I do fewer mock drafts. In the past, Jenny, I have legitimately done 38-ish. I used to measure time by how many mock drafts I was on. So that's gotten better, at least. So there's that.
That's good. So this is 8.0. And in mock 8.0, we still have the Bears with that number 1 overall pick. And you're saying that they are all in on Caleb Williams. That's what everyone's saying. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But you also have them snagging Dallas Turner with the 9th pick. Walk us through it.
Yeah, Caleb Williams, I would be absolutely floored if they don't take Caleb Williams at number 1, especially now that Justin Fields has been traded to the Steelers. And at number 9, as you note, I have him taking Dallas Turner. And you might say, hey, why don't you get a wide receiver here with Rome Odunze on the board? And you could certainly do that. But I love the idea of giving Montez Sweat, who they traded for last year at the trade deadline, had a great second half of the season, getting him a partner along the front 7 there. And Dallas Turner is very good at doing what Montez Sweat was able to do last year. In terms of the wide receivers, they traded for Keenan Allen, another missing piece of the puzzle on Los Angeles Chargers offense, and he's going to come in. Yes, he's 32, but if they're dying for another wide receiver. They can circle back and get one on day 2. They only have 4 total draft picks. 2 of those come in the first round, which is good news. So I think you get that edge rusher, book in Montez Sweat, and then you have Caleb Williams as his first overall pick. And he's going to come into a pretty good situation. The offensive line is better, the wide receivers are better, and the defense will get better if they take Dallas Turner there at 9.
And as everyone's been mentioning this whole time, there's so much talent when it comes to the receivers in this year's class that, you know, get your main quarterback at the beginning and then pick up a defensive player, and you'll have plenty of options down the road. We're going to look at the Dolphins now. In your latest mock, Miami has pick number 21. You believe they're going to go after some weapons for Tua. So you got some receivers going early in your mock. Why do you think Brock Bowers will fit into the spot, and do you really think he'll still be around at that point?
Jenny, he's a top 6 player. I think in my big board I have him at number 6 or number 7. But the tight end position has sometimes been overdrafted. Kyle Pitts was the most recent one who got drafted maybe a little too high. He was underutilized, no doubt about it, by Arthur Smith in Atlanta. Maybe that changes with Raheem Morris now there. But a lot of times these tight ends, no matter how athletic they are, how big of playmakers are, they get pushed down because they run on quarterbacks, on offensive tackles, on edge rushers, and cornerbacks. I think that's going to happen this year as well. And I think the Dolphins would be ecstatic to have someone like Brock Bowers there to be another weapon for Tua to go along with Tyreek and Waddle and all those playmakers that they have. Yes, they've signed Jonnu Smith. Yes, they could potentially target an interior offensive lineman here, but this might be too good to pass up in a division where you're going to have to score a lot of points. We know about the Bills being high-powered. The Jets hopefully will be back to form with Aaron Rodgers being healthy. We'll see what the Patriots look like, but I think Brock Bowers fills a need, even with Jonnu Smith on the roster, and he's a top 6 or 7 talent that you're getting in 21. At number 21, if you're the Dolphins, that feels like an unbelievable bargain that you can't pass up.
That'd be a great get there. All right, you have the Raiders trading into the first round to grab a quarterback, a trade with the Niners. Why is Michael Penix your pick at 31 for Las Vegas?
So, Jenny, it's hard to figure out why Michael Penix isn't getting more love. We talk all the time about the tape being very important, and Michael Penix's tape, there's no one that had better tape last year than Michael Penix Jr. Yes, he was throwing to a bunch of wide receivers that are getting drafted pretty high. Yes, the offensive line was out of this world. That's not his fault. He was still making plays. The last 2 years at Washington, he's been special. Maybe he doesn't go quite this low. I think he's a first-round pick. I know that some teams think he's more of a day 2 pick, but if you're the Las Vegas Raiders, and you're in the aforementioned division with Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes, you cannot go into the season with only Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew as your quarterbacks. No disrespect to those guys, but they're not going to be in the Hall of Fame with Patrick Mahomes, I don't think. I could be wrong there. We'll find out. If that's the case, you need someone who can push the ball down the field. There's no better deep ball thrower in this draft class than what Michael Penix provides. And the good thing is you trade back up into the first round. At the bottom, you may not have to give up a first-round pick to get there, maybe a couple of second-round picks. And with that 13th pick that they currently have, you get help at the cornerback position with my cornerback one in Quinyon Mitchell at Toledo. So 2 birds, 1 stone, and your team is a lot better in the toughest division in football.
Ryan Wilson, mock draft 8.0. We're glad that we're not going to get to 38.0 this season. Ryan, thanks for all of your insight when it comes to this upcoming draft. And if you want more, you got to take a listen to Ryan Wilson's podcast with the first pick. Their latest discussion, it's Ryan Wilson and Rick Spielman. They're talking about the 2024 NFL Draft running back rankings. Check it out today.